Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our special Thursday afternoon lunch and learn session from our Parent Academy. My name is Tina Foston Hayes. I am the Parent Academy Specialist for Alachua County Public Schools, and I welcome you this afternoon. Today, we will be joined by Miss Kelly Cosimo, who is a part of our Alachua County Volunteer Department. She is amazing. You probably already know her, probably already have had dealings with her if you are a volunteer. So she is here today to share some information with us about the new volunteer process. And just before we begin, I would like to go over a few housekeeping elements. Please keep your microphones on mute through the duration of the presentation. We will be monitoring your questions using the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your webinar window. All Parent Academy webinars are closed captioned and recorded for re-review or for us to be able to come back and look at that for parents that could not join us live today. If you have a need for any personal conversations, please feel free to email me at parentacademy@gm.sbac.edu, and I will get to those questions. And if I cannot answer them, I will definitely forward you on to the person within the school district or community that can answer that question for you. And so without further ado, Ms. Kelly, I turn it over to you. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me, Miss Folston Hayes. Like she said, I'm Kelly Costomo, and I work for obviously Alachua County Public Schools in the volunteer and partnership program. And we're so pleased for any of you who are able to join us today or who are joining us in the future to learn about our volunteer program and also about the new rules for volunteering. So I'll just continue on my presentation. Did it change to the next slide, Tina? All right. So first of all, we love and appreciate all of our volunteers and our partners. We have so many different ways that people can volunteer and partner with our schools. You can, if you don't want to become a volunteer in a school, you can collect items for us, school supplies, winter break box food. There's so many different ways that you can participate. We would love to welcome you into our schools and classrooms and cafeterias and media centers to participate as well. And then we have lots of one-time activities like STEAM nights and carnivals and other ways that you can participate. And so I'll try to highlight a few of those while also focusing mostly on the new rules because people seem to have the most questions about those. Just to give you a little bit of background about our office and our program, we host about 13,500 individuals each year as volunteers in our program. And each one of those people helps in a different way, like I said. So we're happy to host them all. From our office, we also help host the Read Squad, which is a program in 2 schools. And so we get to go out 2 afternoons a week, and we involve high schoolers helping in our 2 elementary schools with young kids who are learning to read, and we read with them and play games, learning games with them. And so that's a way that we try to encourage, our future school volunteers into a good life of service. We host about 1,000 college volunteers each semester in different ways. We have about 400 volunteers who participate as classroom assistants each semester. We also have volunteers who help and take stock through mentoring. We have Project Makeover is a big group that that we host as volunteers. We just this past weekend did a little mini makeover at Duval with about 80 college volunteers. So we do have a lot of college volunteers in our program. We do also have business volunteers who help us. They donate funds to keep some of our projects going. They send volunteers to help. Gas South is one example of that. They are a big funder of our robotics program, and they send volunteers to help as judges for that particular program. We also have lots of clubs and organizations that help. Rotary is one. This next week, we're doing Rotary Reading Safari, and we're doing that at a school where we're taking a classroom of 2nd graders to the zoo. But first, we're doing 4 days of in-class lessons. So each day, the kids will get a book to take home. The zoo is coming to their class 2 days, and we're Zooming with the zoo for 2 days. So the overall experience that the Rotary is paying for will end up being 4 books books added to the classroom library of each student, plus they're getting a behind the scenes tour and field trip to the zoo. So that's just one way that Rotary helps. They also provided a dictionary to every third grader across the district. So there's lots and lots of different ways that people are helping, and we're super excited to have you join us along if you'd like to become a volunteer. And then our office is also involved in a lot of teacher and staff appreciation activities. So if that's something that interests you and you would like to join us in helping to appreciate the bus drivers or the school nurses or any teachers and staff, we help with those programs as well. All righty, so the new procedure for volunteers is it's a new state mandate. The district schools were just added to the Agency for Healthcare, which everybody kind of calls it the ACA clearinghouse. We were just added to that clearinghouse in March of this past year. It's been something that we've known is going to happen, and it's been going to happen for a long time. And then boom, it happened in March. And so the rule changed. And so we are in keeping in compliance with that rule. We had to change some of our volunteer procedures. So we landed on supervised versus unsupervised. So if you're a volunteer that's going to be supervised, so you're working in a school, you're reading to a class, you're helping in the lunchroom, you're helping to reshelve library books, you're doing something at school, during school, under the supervision of school staff, then you would be a level 1 volunteer. And that's filling out your volunteer application like you've always done in the past, just like before this new law went into effect. And then we have unsupervised, and that would be taking the kids on a field trip, mentoring, being a coach, tutoring if you're pulling the kid out from their class to be alone with them. All of those things would be examples of level 2 activities. So everybody starts with the Raptor application. We do that because you need to be level 1 qualified in order to become a level 2 volunteer. So everyone starts out by filling out their Raptor application. I have the link here, but it's also on our website at alachuaschools.net/volunteers. You can find all of this information there as well. But once you get approved in Raptor, then you will be approved to be level 1 status. And when you go to school to check in with your driver's license, they'll be able to pull you up and they'll be able to see that you're qualified to volunteer. So the most frequently asked question is, do I have to do the background screen? And the answer is no. There's lots of activities that you can do at school that do not require fingerprinting. Again, reading with kids, helping in the cafeteria, helping during after school, all kinds of different activities that are under the supervision of school staff. So here's some examples of both level 1 and level 2 volunteering, and it really has to do with how supervised people are as volunteers. So people are asking, well, what about mentors? Well, a lot of mentors are in mentees are in middle school and high school, and so they're sharing their contact information with their mentor, and they're having conversations which are relationships outside of the school day. And so this is why more safety, it's more safety to have people be background screened. It's safer anyway. And so I'll talk a little bit about a little later about how the clearinghouse works and why the state wants us to have our volunteers there. So again, if you decide you'd like to be a level 2 volunteer, you start with your level 1 application. Once your approval email comes, and it does take us some time because we still screen every single level 1 volunteer. There is background screening either way. And so once we approve your application to volunteer, which takes us 3 to 4 business days to get through all of them, depending on how many people are applying at a time, you'll get an email from Raptor saying, hey, you've been approved. And inside that email is a link inviting you to apply for level 2. Once you click that link, you'll be asked some questions. And then based on your answers to those questions, we'll direct you in what your next steps are. So that's how you do it. We need for you to know that you need to allow ample time for this procedure. Like before, we would have people calling us the morning of the field trip saying, I just filled out my application. that is no longer an option. We can't approve you the morning of. The emergency time to approve you is probably the week before, right? You need to start working on this a week before, and 2 weeks before would really be ideal. So if you're thinking about applying, go ahead and apply. Getting your level one application out of the way, please just apply. Each part of the process takes time. None of these systems talk to each other. So the clearinghouse doesn't talk to Raptor. When your results come back, they don't come back to me. They come back to a different department that needs to update me. Then I have to individually email every person, letting them know that their level two status has been updated. So all of these steps take time. So please, 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 if you're interested in going on a field trip, know that you need to give yourself ample time in order to get qualified to do that. So another big question that we get asked is, what if I'm an Alachua County Public School or an ESS, which is our substitute system employee? Will you be granted access to level two without getting fingerprinted? And the answer is yes, you will. But there are 3,752 people who work for the school board today. And unfortunately, I haven't met everyone yet. I've met a lot of people, but I don't know everyone. So, and while I'm doing your application, I might not notice that Tina Hayes is Tina Folston Hayes, right? So I need to know that you work here. So when you fill out your application, the options are mother or ACPS employee. If you choose ACPS employee, I'll notice, hopefully, and upgrade you. But if you chose mother, because that is also your title, then you need to also fill out the level two application. And the first question after you answer, what's my name, what's my email, is, do you work here? And if you answer yes, then I will verify you and upgrade you as soon as I can. All right, so what if I think I'm already in the clearinghouse? There are so many people in our community that are already in the clearinghouse, but it does take us time because we have to verify your status in the clearinghouse. And so when you update your level two survey, it asks you if you think you're in there, you answer yes, and then we will send you an email as in the order that we get the request on when it's your turn to call our office. So we do it about 25 or 30 people at a time. So you'll be looking for an email from volunteers at alachuaschools.net in order for us to call you and tell you that it's your turn to be verified in the clearinghouse. Our only way to verify you is to use your social security number. And so you'll need to call and give your social security number to one of the ladies in my office. I promise, don't write it down. We type it in directly into the clearinghouse and we check your status. We add Alachua County Public Schools to your status in the clearinghouse. And then we're able to upgrade you to level two. If anybody still happens to be waiting for us to call or for us to email you, I believe that we have emailed everyone on the list, but if you missed it or didn't receive that call or email, please reach out to our office and we can hopefully upgrade you quickly. Some examples of some people who are in the clearinghouse are nurses, doctors, pharmacists, all different kinds of healthcare professionals. Not all of them are in the clearinghouse, and it depends on how you're licensed into the clearinghouse. If you are licensed through the VA, for example, most of those doctors and nurses are licensed federally and not in a statewide way. And so not just in the state of Florida. And so they aren't all in the Florida clearinghouse. And so that you aren't in the clearinghouse sometimes. Other agencies are going in over time. So the clearinghouse just opened to district employees in March. And so we're all going in on a schedule into the clearinghouse. Nurses have been going in on a schedule. So not everyone is in yet if you happen to have a profession that's going to go in. But if you're in, we're happy to use that prior status. So other examples of people who can get in or who are in there are daycare employees. Some foster parents are in there. Home health agencies, hospice, summer camp workers. A lot of those people are already in the clearinghouse. And again, we're happy to check your status. So what is the cost of the screening? The cost is currently $82. We are looking for ways to lower the cost. but there really aren't that many ways to lower the cost by a lot. One way that we could lower the cost is by purchasing our own machine, and we are looking into that and considering that as an option. But the machine's not cheap, and it takes somebody learning how to do the machine and to be available, 24/7 to do the fingerprints. So that is a way that we're looking to lower the cost, but it wouldn't lower it as much as we would hope. And yes, the $82 is all front loaded and you have to pay that at a time, but it works out to be less than $17 a year, really, for us to make your kids as safe as we can possibly make them. Um, when they're working with unsupervised volunteers. All right, so what is the difference between a level 2 check for employment and a clearinghouse check? Because a lot of people, in order to get employed, have already had a level 2 clearance check. And the difference is that in the clearinghouse, we check to see what your criminal record is when you join the clearinghouse, but then in the clearinghouse, it also follows you into the future. So I'm just going to use John Smith as my example. I don't know John Smith. That's my example name. If John Smith were to get a DUI over the weekend, the clearinghouse lets us know. And so we would know that he's no longer eligible to drive the lacrosse boys to their game because he has an outstanding crime that would prevent him from volunteering. And so that's the value of the clearinghouse, is that before I wouldn't know that he had gotten a DUI over the weekend, and not many people call me to confess that they've had a crime, right? And so now I'll know because the clearinghouse is following all of the volunteers who have these unsupervised jobs so that we can make sure that we're keeping people as safe as possible. But back to the level 2 versus the clearinghouse, when you're signing up for your job as a banker or as an insurance agent, they are checking to see if you've had past crimes. And they have different standards for working in a bank or working in insurance than for working with vulnerable populations. And the people who are in the clearinghouse are working with vulnerable populations, including K-12 students, daycares, hospice patients, pediatric patients, patients at the hospital, foster kids, all of those kinds of clients who need extra special care and who we need to be monitoring to be sure that they're staying safe. The clearinghouse was also established so that people in these jobs, teaching, nursing, pharmacy, those kinds of jobs can go between employers. So like if I had wanted to change to work for another school district, or if somebody wanted to come and teach at our school district, we would have to get re-fingerprinted in order to move school districts. But now there's a Florida clearinghouse and we're all able to access other people's fingerprints. And so you're able to move from job to job without having to pay again to do fingerprints. And so that's also the value for if you moved into a clearinghouse job or a clearinghouse position, you would already have a clearinghouse status. We get asked a lot, why do I need to fill out a new Raptor application every single year? And it's because we need to know that you want to continue volunteering, that you want to hear from us. People's life circumstances changed. Maybe there's been, maybe now you have moved back in with your parents. Maybe your spouse passed away. Maybe you moved neighborhoods and you're at a different school now. So we need to update all of those things, your emergency contacts, your address, all of those things in Raptor so that those things are correct. And if you aren't a level 2 volunteer, we do recheck your background once a year to make sure that you, have stayed crime-free or that you haven't committed a crime that would prevent you from volunteering. We will, however, in this next year, use your level 2 status up until the expiration date that we recorded in order to get you level 2 access, but it will depend on your expiration date. All right, so where are we so far this year? So far this year, as of moments before I logged on, so I guess it's technically October 30th, we had 7,450 registered volunteers. And just to put that in perspective for you, I think this might be the 12th week of school, 11th week of school. Last year in March, our office was thrilled to announce that we had 5,100 people cleared. So in the first 12 weeks of school, we have cleared 7,450 people. recruited them, trained a lot of them, and oriented a lot of college volunteers to join our group. And we feel really good about where we are so far. And we're so excited for all the people who have already signed up and who are volunteering. Right now, we have 1,970 level 2 volunteers that are already processed and ready to go. I know that we're working furiously on the list, and I think there's about 30 people ready to be upgraded. So we're going to pass 2,000 this week, y'all. And we're really excited to have that many people eligible to go on field trips. A bunch of Camp Crystal field trips are coming up soon, and have already started the overnight ones. And so we're pleased to have that many people in the system already. So here's our information about our office and staying up to date in our office. And if you have any questions, truly we are here to help you, and we want to help get everybody through the system as painlessly as possible. It's new, and I know it's been a lot. It's a new process across the state for all school districts who are just joining this program. And I talk with a lot of my compatriot volunteer coordinators as we try to smooth the process out. But like I said earlier, none of the systems talk to each other yet, but I anticipate that as we go forward, some of that will become automated and it will become easier. So we also in our office have a Facebook and Instagram, and if you're interested in following us, we post on there a lot about what we're doing and our changes and the procedures for volunteering, and we would love to have you join us there if you're interested. So I guess if there are questions waiting, I would love to hear any of the questions, Miss Hayes.
Okay, so if you just joined us, there is a Q&A feature located at the bottom of your webinar window. If you're joining us by phone, I'm not sure where that tab is. And let me see if, because usually our IT department doesn't give me access to chat. So, but you can definitely try to put it in the chat box. But usually we use the Q&A feature. So if you have questions, please type them there. Because we do have parent on with us, and I know she has questions. So hopefully we're able to communicate with her. But that was definitely very informative, and I wrote down a few things myself.
All right,
So
what questions do
where
you have?
the level 1 versus the level 2. And in level 1, they can do anything with inside of the school or where there's other staff from the school available. So is that kind of like when they go to like the track and field day at Citizens Field, or is that considered like a field trip?
So the citizens, that's a field trip.
Okay. Okay. So that's just with inside the school doors or on school premises is
Right.
what a level 1. Uh,
So if you want to talk about field day, for field day, there's two different ways that parents can go. Parents can go as spectators, and they stay in the side and this on the west side of the stands. And then each school invites a small number of chaperones to go and help their group because there's so many different activities happening that day, and the kids need a lot of guidance in order to participate. And so, but yes, those would be level 2 chaperones this year who would be invited to go. But there are some activities in the school that would require level 2. Mentoring is one. Tutoring, if you're pulling a kid out of class and might be in a space like the Centrum or a space where somebody can't see you, then that would be level 2. But many, many, many of the activities on campus do count as level 1, yes.
okay. So we do have a question.
Okay.
So what does this mean for us parents that have a background from over 10 years ago? I have a kindergartner and I want to be involved.
Okay, so the state has very specific rules about what you can have in your background and whether or not you can participate as a volunteer. There are ways that you can join in at school if you're not eligible to be a volunteer, but there are some crimes that are no never. And it's very unfortunate, and I am sad about it a lot too. But there are very specific rules that the state legislature has mandated for who is allowed to volunteer and who's allowed to be employed with schools and as a volunteer. So there are some really sad situations where we aren't able to invite people to volunteer, but there are lots of ways that you can participate in school. And I'd be glad to talk with you about them if you'd like to call our office or email us. We can talk about ways that you can be involved if you can't qualify as a volunteer. So thank
Okay.
you for that question.
Will you put your contact information slide up again for me, Miss
Yes,
Kelly?
I will.
Okay. And if there are any other questions, please feel free to type them in that Q&A. And so when we go and we apply for the initial background, is that just level one and you have to choose that you want to do level two, or
So
how does
you would only choose level one when you're filling out your background for the first screening. You would choose level one, and then you would indicate on that next survey that you wanted to go up to level two.
okay.
It delays the processing of your application if you choose level two to start your applications, because we have to take you back down to just level one and then re-establish your application and then go do your background screen. So it takes us longer. So please, please, please just apply for level one in the first place. And then when you get your approval, then we can talk about how to update you to level two. Absolutely. So for those people who are seeing this and are interested in finding out ways to volunteer, I think a great way to start would be to go to activities at your school that they're hosting. Trunk or treat season's coming to an end, but that would have been a great way to dip your toe in the water to find out what other activities are coming up. STEAM nights are just starting, career days are starting. So if you have a career that you think your kids might be interested in that you're willing to share, we're starting to have those days. I would get in touch with the PTA at your school. If you're in middle school or high school, there's lots of clubs happening that you could get involved in. Robotics is one that I happen to be involved in. Band, drama, all of the things are good ways to start to get involved, but you can ask your student's teacher, like, hey, do you need help? And if so, how can I help? And that's a good way to kind of start volunteering, is to ask at school, how can I help?
And those are our typical level ones because
Right,
you're doing it inside the school.
right.
Okay. And then Miss Kelly, do you know any of the no nevers like that category?
So there are many crimes that are no never. A felony drug charge is one that's a no never. Crimes against kids and the elderly. Abuse crimes, felony abuse crimes are definitely some of the no nevers, but there are more that I don't know off the top of my head. But those are some of the ones that I know are no
Okay.
never.
Okay. And have you ever seen where a parent might have had that and then go through the expungement and all of that kind of stuff? Or does that always stay on your?
Um, There's not a whole lot of wiggle room, no. And school systems can actually see records that have been expunged. And so we're able to still use that in our hiring decisions, unlike some other employers. And so at least that's my understanding. I know that we can still see it, but I'm not a human resources person, so I'm not all that.
First?
I'm not as well versed as they are in it, but yeah.
Okay.
There's not a lot of wiggle room, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. So if you missed any part of Miss Kelly's presentation, it is recorded. I will definitely make sure that it is posted and all of that good stuff. It's to make sure that you're able to access that. And I just saw another question pop up, Miss
Okay.
Kelly.
Yeah, I'm here
So
till all questions are done.
I was told that I couldn't be in the class around other kids with a felony drug charge. I could eat lunch,
Yep.
but I guess she could eat lunch, I guess.
Right. You can eat lunch. You can also participate in school activities like the carnivals and other activities at school. If they have presentation in the class where parents are invited, you're invited to be a parent. You just can't be a volunteer.
Okay. So in her case, does she qualify for the reading to go in and read or?
No,
Okay.
because that's a volunteer.
Okay. Okay. So just when parents are invited in
Like if
is
there was a classroom presentation, like we had a Black History Month walk through at Stephen Foster, for instance, and they invited all the families to come and walk through. So that would be something that she could participate in. Absolutely.
okay. Well, that's tough.
Yep.
Okay. Right. And I'll see if any other questions pop up for
Okay.
us.
Yeah.
Um, and so this particular parent can definitely give you a call and you'll kind of walk through her
Sure.
questions or, find out whatever is personal to her and you
Right.
can kind of give
We,
her some pointers.
yeah, we'd glad to discuss that with her. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
We want
Okay,
everybody to be as involved as they can be, for sure.
okay, okay. So again, it is recorded, and so you'll be able to go back and take a look at Miss Kelly's presentation. But again, you see how willing she is to take your calls and make sure that she can help you in any way she can. And if there's anything that I can do, please definitely send me a message as well. And I'll probably just refer you back to Miss Kelly because this is her area. But I'm definitely here for you if you need me. And I won't hold us any longer. If there aren't any additional questions, you could just go ahead and reach out to Miss Kelly. And you guys are there Monday through Friday
Yep,
from
8:30 to 4:30.
8:30 to 4:30. And she'll definitely be willing to help you out and answer some of those questions that you may have. And I just want to thank you all for joining us on our special webinar Thursday at
Lunch and
noon.
learn.
Yes, a lunch and learn. And so tonight I will be hosting my normal webinar where Florida A&M University's recruiter will be on and he'll be talking about all things FAMU and how to become a rattler. So if that is interesting to you, please see me back here at 6 o'clock. You will use the same login, the same link. It is for all of my webinars. So anytime you see one, that is the link that you'll use. And so with that, I don't see any other questions. So Ms. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me and providing some informative information. And I hopefully we'll get on the roll and we won't have to have you back
Yeah,
in this capacity, but definitely if you want to come back, want to share something with our parents, you definitely have the floor to do so. So thank you again. I
yeah.
appreciate you.
Thank you for trying to keep our parents informed.
Yeah,
I think it's a valuable service that we're providing. So hopefully some people will watch our show.
thank you
All
and
right.
enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thanks.
You're welcome. Bye.